Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 166 of LostinTranslationmon. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
And this time we are discussing all of Xros Wars. So we didn't watch anything this week, we are just talking about our opinions on Xros Wars overall. So that's ranging from the first two arcs as well as Hunters, so we're including them as the 75 episodes, was it, of the whole thing, so we're discussing that as on a whole.
It's so weird, right? Because I sat down to write my answers to these questions for this week, and I really just thought we were talking about Xros Wars, because then I'm like, oh wait, it's been like a year and a half since we started Xros Wars General. I thought we were talking about Young Hunters only. It's been like a year and a half since we started Xros Wars.
Yeah. It's not a year and a half, but we started Xros Wars
What, 72 episodes every 2 weeks?
Yeah, like February.
It's 140 weeks. That's actually more than 2 years, if that's accurate.
We were doing three.
No, we did multiple.
We did three
episode. I'm so stupid.
Yeah.
I'm so good at math.
So we started.
You would think I would have been doing it all day.
Yeah, it's been like just over a year, and that was for all of Xros Wars. So it's not as quick as we usually do it, but that's because we changed our time schedules in regards to recording. We went from weekly to monthly, but also Xros Wars is just a longer season. There are more episodes.
And it's real bad.
We have our stats about how many hours each season has taken us, so we can go back to our theory on meh is like the least amount of time, bad is the most amount of time, good is like a medium amount of time, so I will be able to compare those in just a second. I just want to give a quick update. All the changes are done, so the website's working, and our new podcast providers now hooked up to all of the podcast services like iTunes and Stitcher and Spotify and Google Podcast, which I found a way to put a podcast on Google Podcasts, even though it was really hard to find the right link, because when the link that I was using kept on taking me to a page that said, sorry, it's not available in your country. Don't know what that was about, but it's there now, so yay. So that's all done, and that's very exciting. It took me a very long time. So as I said before, just before we start, so just not including the summary episode, we spoke about Xros Wars for 38 hours.
Which is apparently the least we've ever spoken about Digimon.
Yeah, so that goes with, it was just, like, for the most part, Xros Wars was meh.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Like, it's not it's got some bad bits in it.
Yeah.
But it's not hilariously bad where it's dropping these, like, awful plot holes constantly.
Yeah.
Except for the ending.
Yeah.
It's just, these things happen. Because so much of this filler in Young Hunters, for example, like, Young Hunters may as well not have happened.
Yeah, like, a lot of the stuff in Young Hunters, like, it was good that we were discussing for 3 episodes every episode, because the episodes would be less than an hour, and I think we had a couple of episodes where we're just like, especially the not last time's episode, but like the ones before it, which are the last like 3 episodes of filler in the season, we just spoke, like, the edited episode turned out to be 40 minutes long. Because it was just the case of, we did the synopsis, and
we killed the franchise, now it's going to kill this show. I mean, the show,
No, I'm continuing it, so
that's cool.
The thing is that there wasn't anything that drastically horrible, awful about Xros Wars. It wasn't bad in which there were problems, it was bad because there was nothing. Like, I mean, Xros Wars, the first 2 parts, especially the second part, were fine. The second part was actually almost on par with, like, an okay season of Digimon, I guess. It was better than 02, I would consider, much better than Frontier.
It's not hard to be better than 02.
Yeah. I would say that the second part was almost on the level of Adventure, because part 2 was good. We had actual characters that I cared about. Sure, it had some dumb bits, but so did Adventure. Like, Part 2 was fine. Part 1 was very generic, but it was passable. And then Part 3 was just bad.
It's funny that I have a better impression of Part 1. Maybe it's because it's just a longer time ago.
Well, Part 1 also introduced some pretty unique mechanics. Like, it was the generals in the war. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, and there were episodes I liked about the first part, but my favourite episode in the second part, and I just feel like I had more emotions in the second part. The first part was just fine. But anyway, so yeah, 27 episodes, and that took 38 hours. So that was for Xros Wars. So in comparison, for Adventure, we had 28 episodes. So 27 episodes is pretty on par. So it's good that we did 3 episodes per episode, because otherwise we would have more episodes, obviously. And this way we have the same amount of episodes as all the other seasons. So Adventure, 28 episodes. and that took 42 hours. So a couple of hours longer than Xros Wars and roughly the same amount of episodes. Then we have 02, which we spoke about for 26 episodes, and that took 47 hours. So that's like 9 hours longer than we spoke about Xros Wars. So that's a significant like bit of a jump. And we disliked 02. Like we had I didn't dislike 02, but I'm saying there were a lot of issues. There were a lot of issues with 02, lots of things to complain about, which takes up time. Then we have Tamers, which we spoke about for 27 episodes, and that took 45 hours. So, again, it wasn't... We liked it, but there wasn't much to complain about. If you like something, you can't really... You can gush about
Everyone likes it.
Yeah, there's not much to really go on and on about. Tamers is fine. It works. Then we have Frontier, and we spoke about this for 26 episodes, so the same amount as for 02, except we spoke about it for 53 hours. So we already have like the jump of of 38 hours to 47 hours. Now we just have this one going. It's now 53 hours. We had like several episodes that took 3 hours to record, and it was just anger. It was just us complaining about a show that had a lot of problems. It was dull in some points, and that's fine, but that was still worthy of complaining about. But also when it was bad, it was really bad. So 53 hours. It was a show.
Frontier was big garbage. I wish that when he came in the All-Star episode, he just fell over and, like, died. It's like, oh, that was weird. Guess we didn't need him.
Oh, it was worth having him there just to have Zenjiro's reaction of seeing him evolve. And also everyone saying, where's your partner? I am my partner. So then we have Savers, which... To be fair, there were less episodes in Savers. Like, there were less than 50. Other seasons had more than 50. And so this only took us 24 episodes to cover. And it was for 42 hours. So, sort of like... about the same amount of time as Adventure, but 4 less episodes. So, that means that we sort of enjoyed it. So, Tamers, 27 episodes, 45 hours, enjoyed it. And Savers, which I would say we enjoyed, like, those are the 2 seasons that both of us actively enjoyed. We talked about 42 hours with 24 episodes. So I would say that's a medium amount of time. So we liked it. So that's sort of, having said all that, that does sort of reinforce what we've said, I think, since we were covering 02, that if we like something, we will kind of, like, talk about it a little bit, and then if we really don't like something, we'll talk about it tons, and if we think something's met, we'll talk about it not that much.
Well, I guess one of the reasons for that is you go, if somebody already likes Digimon, then that's why they're listening to our show.
Yeah.
Which is to say that the only thing you need to tell somebody, besides this happened and it holds up the way you imagined it, is this is actually way worse than you remember.
Yeah.
Which is why it takes explanation. Also, sometimes things are only bad in kind of subtle ways, whereas when they're good, they're usually good in, like, pretty overt ways. Yeah. So, like, most of the plot holes in the most of the plot holes in the show, which, like, you didn't catch on the first watch through and only did it when, like, watching, like, with me.
Yeah.
Because you didn't care. Because it's Digimon and you like it, so it doesn't matter. It matters to me, because I think Digimon is bad.
Yeah, like...
And the only joy I ever had was pulling it apart.
Oh, you enjoyed Atmon.
I ever had.
Yeah, and Tamers and Savers.
Ever...
Yeah. Like, you did enjoy Savers, but Masaru did sure punch a lot of Digimon.
That's basically the only reason I liked it, if I remember correctly.
No, that there were... Look, I hated the way they treated Yoshino, because it was reminiscent? That's a word. There we are. It was reminiscent of the way that Izumi, or Zoe, was treated in Frontier, which was she had a focal episode that was focused on her, and she didn't even win the fight. So, like, Savers does have problems. So when I say Savers is, like, one of my favorites, like, it would be probably... I would like it more than Tamers, but the treatment of women in Savers is not good. Like, it's sort of, you have the really smart bad guy who's a woman, but, like, that's kind of like a trope of, like, the femme fatale who's really smart and sexy. Like, that was her point. And, like, they don't have any good character who's, like, Yoshino's boring. Like, she's better than Izumi because she does things and she gets evolutions and all, but she doesn't actually, like, get much focus as her own character. So
she's like a foil in the first episode or something, or the first couple episodes, and then she falls into the background.
Like the singer, she dates a singer and has to remove his memories, and the whole episode is meant to be featured on her, but she doesn't fight because she has emotions. Like, I don't know. And then, we have Tamers. I really enjoyed Tamers. I still maintain that it is vastly overrated by the fandom. Maintained, yes. It's overrated by the fandom. It's not the best thing ever. I don't want a season 2 of it. It ended perfectly, I would say, because you can, no matter who you are, you might have a different interpretation of how the ending went. Same with Atmon.
Also, look what happened to Try.
Yeah, you don't want any more adventure. Like, nobody's asking, like, well, in the English-speaking fandom at least, nobody's asking for more adventure. Everyone's just sort of saying, oh no, please stop. Like,
also, no one's asking for Atmon because they couldn't understand it because there's no English version.
Yeah, and I've seen some people ask for an Atmon, like, season 2. I'm like, no, I don't want that. I want new stories, but I don't want
for that story to go.
And people say, oh, what about more Digimon aimed at adults? No, bad. Well, kids shows only.
But you don't want it aimed at only at kids. Well, here's the thing, right?
Atmon, I think, was the perfect balance.
Yeah,
it was a kid show that adults can watch and enjoy.
You want a Steven Universe for Digimon.
You want the modern kid show, which is, hey, look, your
Avatar.
older brother or adults or anyone can watch this. And I feel like Atmon was a good balance because, yes, it was definitely for kids. Like, it's a kid's show. When people say, oh, it's so childish, I'm like, yep, Atmon's a kid's show. But I really enjoyed it. And then we have Try, which is, like, I'm the demographic for Try. I'm someone who's, buys all the merchandise, adventure, that was my childhood, watched Adventure as a little tiny baby. And tries, I'm the demographic for Try. But I didn't enjoy Try because I felt like a lot of the time it was just trying to get everybody who liked adventure interested at the same time, which was inconsistent. But Try was still fine. Like, I don't hate Try, just like
You should. It falls apart so hard in those last 3 episodes. It is legitimately quite bad.
Digimon can't do sequels that aren't movies.
Yeah, they can't really do movies that well either.
Pardon?
Doesn't even do movies that well either.
Our War Game.
Yeah, that movie that only you like.
You liked Our War Game.
Only you like?
Yeah, everyone likes Our War Game. Whenever I ask someone what their favourite Digimon movie is, it's Our War Game.
Look, I like Summer Wars. That's my favourite Digimon movie.
Yeah, Our War Game is Summer Wars.
Except but Summer Wars is better.
No one's grandma dies. Except
I know.
There is a grandma. There's a grandma. That's true. She's just the best character in all of Digimon. Hey, can I speak to your grandson? Oh, I'd like to speak to them too. Goodbye. Hangs up phone. I love the Digimon movie. Anyway, so yes, Digimon should continue, but as a kid show, but not too kid showy like Hunters. I want it to be intelligent kid show so everyone can watch it. Why do they need to have 2 different seasons, adults and kids, when they can just have one that's good? So that's what I want. And we also had a survey for highlights and opinions on all of Xros Wars, and we do this for every season. It had 50 responses, so the answers will be throughout the episode as we go over these topics. It's just like percentages, don't worry. I did the hard part. But anyway, that was a super duper quick introduction. Obviously, no obnoxious synopsis because we didn't watch anything. And I did have a freak out when I thought that I hadn't recorded obnoxious synopsis with Jay yet. I was like, oh, I forgot. But, yeah. I also had, like a bad dream the other night where I hadn't watched the episodes yet. And, like, there are no episodes. There are no more episodes, ever.
Yeah, good news. You never have to do Obnoxious Synopsis again.
Aw. I mean, I did like Obnoxious Synopsis because you were like, oh, if Masaru shows up, he's not going to punch anything. It's like, he punches, like, 10 Venom Vamdemons.
I guess.
Like, a lot of the time,
even worth it.
No J's allowed in our Slack and now in our Discord was just, like, me quoting you directly from, like, a recording. I'd be on my phone and you'd be saying your predictions, and I'd be typing into No J's allowed saying...
Just making fun of me behind my back. Amazing.
No, just, like, because I'd say direct quotes and then just, like, laughing emojis because it'd be, like, either exactly spot on or you'd say something that you didn't think would happen because it was good. And, like, yeah, that was, like, the highlight of Obnoxious Synopsis for me, like, having all the times. And also, my favourite part was I had put in, like, references to Masaru punching Vamdemon all through the show. Like, I think even when Vamdemon was in, like, Adventure in 02, I was like, yeah, maybe someone should just punch, like, 10 of him. Like, and in Sabers, I was like, yeah, he should punch some Vamdemon. I was just ruthless with all my little references that, like, we would laugh in No J's Allowed about it. It was constant. I'm so glad you didn't pick up that I was saying it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever would have. I think you were like, yeah, I was like, I don't get this reference. Yeah, you wouldn't. I wasn't,
I was sort of, like, saying it in a way that, like, to make listeners pick up, but not you. I think I did quite well. Adjusts tie that I'm not wearing. All right, so... I guess on to the actual show. Now we've gotten some stuff out of the way. Oh, and people have been asking, no, I'm not done with the podcast after this. I'm never done with the podcast. I love the podcast. It's my baby. I've been doing blog posts. Check those out. But also podcast. Yes. Okay, cool. On to the show. As previous all of season summaries, I have, of course, included alliteration into my notes. So our first segment is obviously called Crazy Characters, because it always is. Yay. So
Crazy characters.
Crazy characters. Is that your mispronouncing? Because I can't pronounce anything ever, especially when it's a mispronunciation. All right, so
I don't know what you're talking about, Gina. I don't like crazy cupcakes.
Crazy cupcakes.
I love crazy cupcakes.
So, favorite main character? Who was yours, Jay?
So I'm gonna be real with you. When I sat down to write these, I thought I was talking about Xros Wars only because it had just been the only thing we were watching for such a long time.
Yeah.
So I think I had to go back and change it. Yeah.
I mean, Taiki's still a character in the third part.
I said Taiki. I said Taiki with a reference to Young Hunters only, but like obviously he's the best character in it. I don't know who else even comes close, because let's be real, if Taiki is two-dimensional, everyone else is one-dimensional. That doesn't mean anyone is good, but it means he's the best.
Oh, well, my answer was Nene, but only in part 2, and I guess part 1. But Taiki overall, because Nene was actually delightful in part 2 with all her costumes.
It was just the costumes, and even then, that costume thing never went anywhere and never came from anywhere. It was just a weird thing she did.
I know.
Which means she's not a good character. She's like an event that happens that you enjoyed.
Yeah. I mean, she did have positives. I'm really on board that they had a character who was a female, but also the evil character who was not sort of evil. I just like when they have women who aren't Izumi and Yoshino who just stand there and are girls, which is what she was in the third part, so I hate her in the third part. So, listener opinions. So, I'm only going to be doing the top 2, obviously. So, 36% is Taiki, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you say second place was?
I guess it's you, because he's the other character.
No, Nene.
No, Nene would make sense.
Yeah.
Sorry. Again, thinking of Young Hunters.
Yeah.
Because in my notes in front of me, I'm like, Tagiru sucks and you is boring. Or, Tagiru would never be up there, so I guess you was the other choice.
What about least favourite main characters?
I mean, Tagiru's got to be the option, right? Tagiru, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
But the problem to me is, you say main character. What does that mean? Does that mean protagonist? Because there's only 2 of those, and one sucks.
I'm including my list of protagonists are Taiki, Nene, Kiriha, Tageru, you, and that's it.
I don't know if necessarily Nene counts in that list.
Nene is most certainly a main character in parts 1 and 2.
She's around.
In part 2, she is a solid part of the
she's
everything.
Around.
She's related to the plot, and she drives the plot at a lot of points. She has a couple of episodes featured around her. She is as much as a main character as Kiriha is. Just because she's useless in part 3 doesn't mean she's
I actually forgot that her whole story was trying to get you back because he's her brother. Yeah. I completely forgot that happened.
Yeah, because part 3 just ignores anything that had ever happened and makes her an idol for no reason. Not in the Kiriha was okay, I moved because I had to, because Clockman told me to. Nene just moved because she is 11 years old and wanted to be an idol and got upset no one supported her. What? So yeah, my least favourite is Nene in part 3, but also Tageru, because I feel like the writers couldn't decide on how they wanted Tageru's character to go, so they just made him awful. Because whenever he felt like he was being redeemable, the next episode he would just be awful again.
Would you say that Tageru developed at all as a character?
No.
I agree.
At least Daisuke did.
Did he?
Marginally. He wanted to have a noodle cart and then he got the noodle cart.
That's not what development is. Development is a change of a character, not them being exactly the same the whole way through and getting what they wanted.
He matures vastly, but only because of Ken. He just becomes a slightly not terrible human, stops being creepy towards Hikari, and starts being nice just after Ken, so I don't know. Ken's a good influence, I guess. Anyways, so listener opinions. So this is not surprising at all. 54% say Tageru because, of course, he's awful. And who do you think second place is?
I'm hoping it's you.
Yeah.
He's the most boring. Yeah.
Yeah, you are the worst.
Yeah, I always knew that. I always knew.
And what about favourite main Digimon? What's yours?
It's gotta be Shoutmon, because that's a character that does develop. He's a totally different character at the end of that show.
See, I have my answer is in 2 parts. I've got part 1 and 2 answer, and then I've got part 3. Part 1 and 2 was Sparrowmon because, like, she's just so cool. And
but
then
Sparrowmon's not, like, there's nothing about Sparrowmon. Sparrowmon's just a bird that you like.
Oh, no, she does, but the way she's protective of her Nene is really kind of adorable in Part 2. When, like, also Part 1, I guess. It's just, she's really cool. And she's like, can I kill the Nene? It's really, I like her. And then, of course, yeah, Shoutmon. And also, it's really kind of nice that he becomes king. Like, that was easily the best part of Young Hunters, is the fact that the first episode we find out that Shoutmon's king now. Also, it's been, like, thousands of years.
Well, I mean, like, they never say that. But it is heavily implied by the way Digimon works.
Yeah. It's been, like, a year in the human world. It's been I think we worked it out to be, like, a long time anyway, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
We did some impromptu maths.
It was real silly.
Yeah.
I think it was at least 700 to 1,000 years. Or something
yeah,
like that.
It was like 700 at least. It was not a short amount of time. And I think we were saying that's why Gumdramon's kind of like a kid and Shoutmon looks older now. It's annoying that Omega Shoutmon doesn't look older.
Well, I mean, I guess once you're the problem is that he should have been Omega Shoutmon by that point. Because obviously the whole point of the evolution was that you're showing what he would be in the future.
Yeah,
it's skipping forward in time.
Yeah, I just remembered that Omegamon said, this is your future self. So he should just say, oh, this is just how I am now. Or he should have at least been a gold Shoutmon, or starting to look like his future self at least. I don't know. But
would that have been weird if there's like an in-between stage between Shoutmon and Omega Shoutmon where there's like a half evolution?
Like in like the Lion King, when you see like Simba when he's growing up and he has like the mane, like there's like a little mohawk, like that kind of like in between like teenage stage. Exactly. I can dig it. Least favourite main Digimon? Sorry, I didn't do the listener ones. Also, I forgot Diamond existed, but God, he was awful, wasn't he? Anyway, so listeners for favourite main Digimon, 40% Shoutmon. Who do you think would be the second place?
For favourite main, I guess, it's probably Sparrowmon, because you're such a fan.
Nope, 20% say Darulumon.
I don't remember who that... Oh, the dog! Wait,
yeah,
it's
dog.
Not cute. It's not the Cutemon?
No, this was surprising, actually. It wasn't Cutemon.
That's actually super weird.
So yeah, least favourite, you said Damimon. I forgot Damimon existed for my answer.
Damimon is so trash. It is unbelievable.
Oh, he's awful. I hate him. I think that's the point. He's meant to be obnoxious. And because Lilithmon also hates him, I think he's just meant to be super, super, super obnoxious. What happened to Lilithmon and Blastmon, by the way? I thought Blastmon said he would take like hundreds of years to grow back. Why wasn't he in Young Hunters?
That's a really good question, and I don't know the answer.
Because they forgot. They don't care. There's the answer.
Oh, yeah.
So, my least favourite. So, I said Greymon and male Bergermon, but I think it's kind of the point that you don't like them, because they're meant to be annoying, and they're meant to be like come off as mean, because that's meant to make when they actually do become friends with Shoutmon mean that he's finally worthy and like gives them attention. But I also think that's kind of awful. Like, it's saying, hey kids, do you have people who are bullying you? Be better and they'll become your friends. Like, it's saying that you're not worth anything if you don't earn the respect of your bullies. So I don't know. I don't like Greymon and male Bergermon, and also I just realized that none of the Digimon had personalities in Young Hunters. They all had
except Gumdramon.
Except Gumdramon and Shoutmon. But in the first 2 seasons...
Damimon lost his.
Yeah, he just... Did he even talk? Because he came back alive, and then he did not talk.
Yeah, like, not at all.
Like, something I liked about Xros Wars was that, and this is limited to the first 2 parts, obviously, the Digimon had personalities. Darulumon had a story arc. Cutemon had a story arc. They all had personalities.
Yeah, what happened to Cutemon's parents? No one knows.
Yeah,
Wait, didn't they die?
No, they were brought back because power of friendship, and...
Oh, okay, cool.
I hated it, because they should have died, because it would have... Remember how I said it makes no difference them being dead or being alive?
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, because they never show up again. They could have been dead. Like, I don't know why they brought them back. They should have just stayed dead and actually be meaningful, but whatever. Anyway... So the listeners said that, and this is actually really surprising, 32% said that Cutemon was their least favourite.
Why?
I know.
That's upsetting, and I'm mad now.
I thought I misread this. I'm like, nah, I'm looking at the wrong one. No, it's Cutemon. And 22% said Gumdramon, which, like, he's clearly better than Tuguru, and I think there are worse Digimon, like Damimon, for example, who I forgot existed. But yeah, Gumdramon.
I can't believe you forgot he existed.
Yeah, I forgot he existed because he didn't have a personality in season 3, but no one did, so, yeah. And now we have our favourite supporting characters. This is like Akari, Zenjiro, Team Rocket, anyone who sort of just showed up for a couple of episodes maybe and weren't really super main characters, but were still kind of present and had characters. Who was yours?
Shoutmon.
That's a Digimon.
Yeah, he's my favourite supporting character.
Okay, Shoutmon is just, okay, that's fine.
Because he came back and he's like the king now, and you're like, oh, it's him! But he's a supporting character.
Okay.
It's different.
Okay, you mean King Shoutmon. Okay, that's passable. I guess that's fine too.
I outsmarted you all.
I said Chibi Kamemon because every time he was on the screen, it was a delight.
Yeah,
and when he came back, there was big pop from everyone. Like, even you popped for Chibi Kamemon because he's just so cute.
Yeah, I actually really like that guy.
Alternatively, out of, like, all the options that I gave, like, Akari is fine. Like, I like how supportive she is. I like that she's kind of tough. I like she had, like, a story arc where she kind of wanted to go home because, of course, she would. She was kind of, like, almost the Joe of the group, where she was kind of like, hey, guys, what about home, though? And
was she just so happy when she became a tamer though?
Actually, yes, I was.
No, I'm joking. No, you shouldn't be.
I was because she deserved it. Like, I'm glad that she got it.
But it meant nothing.
She actually gets like a crossloader earlier on in the manga, and she evolves Darulamon a lot, so that's great. So I'm happy that she got a crossloader eventually, but still, I wish she had it for longer. I like Akari. So.
Okay.
For listener opinions, we had 39.6% say Akari, which is fair enough. And second place was actually pretty far behind at 18.7%. Who do you think this is?
Jeremy?
Yeah, Zenjiro.
So smart.
And then one person, and I just want to just say this, one person said, no, they're all terrible.
All supporting characters at all times.
Yes, which is
fair
also not wrong, because they all could be better. Least favourite supporting character. So, who was yours?
I was thinking, what did I say? I was gonna say my least favourite supporting character, and this is important, because we find out at the end of the show that he's actually meant to be really important, is, what's his name?
Clockman.
No, well, actually, Clockman's a good
Oh,
selection.
you mean Roma, yeah.
I was talking about, Roma's Digimon.
Oh, I love Roma's Digimon. What are you talking about? He's cool.
But what does it do ever? Think about this, right? The structure of Young Hunters is such that by the end of the show, you're meant to go, oh no, that guy was the bad guy the whole time?
Yeah.
But if you think about it for 2 seconds, that thing was only on screen for like, I want to say over the course of the entire show, 2 minutes.
Yes, no, I would agree. Like, and my least favourite supporting character was also Roma, because for starters, Ren and Iru had more evil traits than him, and they also had more plot related to them. Like, Iru had like a good episode, and we had Ren who had an okay episode which sort of had Zenjiro in it, and he was basically beating people up for fun. Why wasn't he the bad guy? In my mind, he was.
The answer is to trick you, ha ha ha.
Yeah, but Roma was basically nothing. He was just kind of there and kind of boring. He was the least interesting of the two, and also the least interesting in design. But in general, I wish that Ren, Iru, and Roma all had more attention in general. Like, that'd been cool. And I wish Ren was more relevant because he's great. I just like his design.
And that he's the most evil man.
Yeah, I like his hat.
But just you like characters with hats. What's with you?
No, that's Chakmon, but also, yes, hats are good. Like, have you seen, like, his big dumb hat? It's so cute. I love him.
What the
It's cute.
Why are you so all in on hats?
Because hats are good. They're comfortable and easy to wear. And you can
Those
wear
are
them
shorts.
No, but also hats. They protect you from the sun. They protect you from the cold. Hats are baller. I used to hate hats as a kid, but now I'm all about them. Like, yeah, when can I get some hat?
They'll protect you from your feelings.
I like hats. Yeah. Aw, hats. Anyway, so, next question is... Oh, I didn't do the listener ones because I keep on forgetting, but I haven't forgotten any yet. So, 30.6%...
I'll never forget you listeners.
Shh. I will never forget. So 30.6% say Ren is their least favourite.
That's amazing. I mean, I guess if you find him like he's like a bad guy and you don't like him, ooh, he's not your favourite. I guess.
But he's like the least bad of the three. Like, Roma actually okay we'll just say he's bad because the end part, and then Iru was actually just awful, and then Ren was kind of like awful but relevant once. Right? Like, he was relevant in the Kendo episode, and that's about it.
I'm not sure relevant is the word I would ever use.
He was involved.
He was physically present. I'll give him that much.
He sort of was in the group for the group project, but he kind of showed up late and didn't do any work and just kind of sat there asking what was for lunch. Anyway.
But everyone said he was the best.
With 22.4%, who do you think's in second place for least favourite supporting character?
the blonde girl, Iru.
Nope, Clockman.
I don't even know if he's a support. I mean, I guess he's a supporting character.
Yeah, he's definitely a supporting
character. He's the
character.
Genai of the show, but at the same time, he's like not.
He's also Bagramon, apparently, possibly, maybe not.
No, he is. 100% he is Bagramon.
Yeah, it's in a funny, weird way. The next one is favourite bad guy or bad guy group. Who was yours?
Look, honestly, it's probably Bagramon and his Death Generals, like the original set.
The Death Generals are my favourite, but I had Bagramon as his own because he's his own.
Well, he can't be his own because he's leading them. He's the actual leader of the Death Generals.
Okay, well, my answer's still the Death Generals. Like, I liked the Death Generals. They were good. I liked them. I liked the fact that they were each different and they had reason for not working together, and I liked Olegmon and Apollomon.
Yeah, I liked Olegmon too. Was Olegmon a Death General? Was he the weird one after that?
No, he was a Death General. He was the pirate one.
What's the thing that they get afterwards? That was like after they take over the world? They're not Death Generals anymore. They're something else.
What do you mean?
There was a stat. Okay, so the generals for the first.
Oh, you're talking about like Blastmon
show.
And Lilithmon?
I don't know. I guess.
Yeah.
No, no. I'm talking about. Mate. So there's two halves of Xros Wars, right?
Yeah.
There's before and after Bagramon takes over the digital world.
Death Generals is after. Like Death Generals Death Generals is the arc, the Death Generals. That's just the second part.
So what's the...
the first one's just the guys who are in charge of the zones.
No, they had a name. What were they called?
The Bagra Army.
No, but there was like a name for the generals, wasn't there? Like when Lilithmon and Blastmon, they were like, we're going to become something.
No, they're just the Bagra Army. And Lilithmon and Blastmon were just generals in the Bagra Army.
Weird.
Yeah, but anyway...
I almost don't believe it. Anyway, whatever.
I stan Death Generals.
Yeah, I don't think you're using that correctly.
No, I think I am. So the listeners said that, and this was kind of like, this was more split than all the other ones, but I'll still do the top two. So we have 18.4% say Dark Knightmon.
Oh, boo!
And then we have second place, which is a two-way tie, at 16.3%. Who do you think's in this two-way tie?
Oh god, okay, so it's the bad guys who they liked the most?
Yeah.
It's gonna be Bagramon, right?
No.
It's not Team Rocket, is it?
No.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you?
I mean, obviously, yes.
Okay, so it's the tie between Lilithmon and the 7 Dark Generals. That's fair. I like Lilithmon. I think I prefer Blastmon just because, like, didn't we look it up and he's, like, a Street Fighter character? Like, he's M. Bison or something?
Yeah, the voice.
Yeah.
I think so.
I like him. He's fun, but Lilithmon's fine too. And 7 Dark Generals, obviously, that was my choice. So then we have least favourite bad guy or bad guy group. What was yours?
Scott, I was... wait, where did I put it? My least favorite... Oh, that was Death General. Team Rocket, because they're not really a bad guy group. Like, they have all the airs of like, ooh, we're still bad. But then they don't do anything, ever.
I kind of was split between this. I said Quartzmon because it just feels rushed, like a really rushed version of the D-Reaper. But also Team Rocket because they could have been interesting, but chose not to be.
Oh my god, Quartzmon was so boring, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm just like, Quartzmon, like, I barely remembered him, and I was like, in my memory, he was only there for 4 episodes, right? No, that must be wrong. He must be there for, like, more than that. Nope, just 4. That's fine. Like, at least Apollomon, people argue that was, like, foreshadowed, and was at least a personality. Like, he had a personality. It wasn't just a rock with a flat, dumb face on it. Oh my gosh. Like, he made Digimon because he was so boring himself, so he made the actual threatening Digimon. It's dumb. Anyway, so yeah, those were my answers. As for the listeners, 28% say not Team Rocket, which is, yep, I would agree. They're awful. Who do you think is in second place with 20%?
Of their least favourite?
Yes.
Wait, hold on. I want to say Bagramon specifically?
No.
Okay, I don't know the answer.
Lilithmon.
Really?
So Lilithmon's also a least favourite as well as a favourite. So people's pretty split.
Shocked and appalled.
But Blastmon's still better.
I like Blastmon. He has a personality.
Yeah, Blastmon had a personality. Lilithmon.
And he was a wrestler!
Yeah, also that. Also the fact that he was just like, I'm not shiny anymore, I have to leave. Like, that's the best way of like, well, why aren't you killing the humans? The humans are over there because I'm not shiny. I love that.
I'm upset about it.
Like, hey, Vamden, why'd you killing the children? Because I have to be creepy and abduct some women or something. Whatever. Why isn't Blastmon killing the children? Because he doesn't want people to see him not being shiny. I'm like, yeah, that's fair enough.
They'll just think I'm made of glass and not diamond.
Like, that was such a good part in Xros Wars, where he has, like, we are asking the TV, hey, why is Blastmon not following the children? And then the Vilemon ask, in this beautiful, magical Atmon moment of, hey, boss, why are you not chasing the humans to kill them? And he answers, because I'm not pretty. I'm like, fair enough. All right.
I don't want them to see me if I'm not pretty.
Like, I love that. Blastmon is so good. I love Blastmon so much, and also I just realised that Pinocchimon was never seen again in Young Hunters.
Was he really?
Yeah, remember that big episode where we're like, oh, we're with Pinocchimon again? He was not relevant. I mean, the episode was relevant again because there was that episode where Gumdramon was, like, not wanting to fight Betsumon, and then Tigrew said, oh, but what about Taiki fighting Pinocchimon because it was the right thing to do, like... And then Pinocchimon himself was never seen again. Why?
Because we had the flashback. That's right. That's why we saw him again. But we didn't actually, like, see him again.
Yeah, we didn't see any reoccurring characters from the first season, and I would have... Why not Blastmon? It would make perfect sense for him to say, oh, I'm not going to be completely full again for, like, hundreds of years. And now
killed?
No, I think he's just very, like, small and upset about it. I don't think he was actually... Oh, I think Lilithmon was eaten, but I can't remember about Blastmon. Because big bads like to eat their friends when they become the big bad. I don't know. I don't think he died, but I wish he came back even if he did. I don't know. I love Blastmon. Anyway, so the next topic is favourite death generals. Who was yours?
Didn't they die in that lake? Like, they fell into a bit of water, and then, like, they both faded away?
They did, but Lilithmon definitely did, because the Vilemon didn't help. But I don't care. Blastmon should have come back anyway. Digimon, don't die. Whatever, I don't know. So, favourite death general?
I felt probably Olegmon. I called him the Viking guy because I forgot his name. But
Same.
Yeah, he's great.
Olegmon's great because he was just...
He had a great time.
Yeah, he had a great time. He was totally there and, like, even admitted... He accepted his defeat, and that's what I really liked. My second would be Apollomon because of the same sort of... He had a character sort of thing.
I love that that's your bar of entry. Like, alright, I like him because he had a character.
Yeah, because...
That is the lowest possible bar in a piece of fiction I could possibly imagine.
How rare is characters in bad guys in Digimon?
God, that is sad.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, it's a good thing about Xros Wars that the first two parts we actually had Digimon who were the centre of backstories. We had Blastmon, we have Darulamon, we have Cutemon, we have, like, Shoutmon. They all have characters. In Young Hunters, it's just Gumdramon, and that's fine. Like, that's one. That's not... Anyway, so, listener opinions. So, 37.5% say Apollomon. Who do you think's in second place with 22.9%?
Olegmon?
Yeah, because they're correct. He's the best. What about your least favourite death general?
I actually want to say it's Gravimon because he was really disappointing.
Oh, that's only because you looked him up, 3 years ago and was like, that's cool.
I thought he looked cool, and I was like, oh, maybe he's something. And then he wasn't anything, and he was really dumb. He got, one really good victory, and then he, just completely wasted it by, oh, Kiriha, you don't believe in yourself good enough. That means you work for me, I guess.
Yeah.
It was
I see
bad.
Your point, but at least he had, it was entertaining. Alternatively,
my
choice is Zamielmon or Dorbikmon. Zamielmon because, the plot just focused around him because it was relevant to Mervamon's younger brother. And Dorbikmon because he was just kind of there because he was the first death general and had to die and didn't get anything behind him.
Wait, is Zamielmon the bee?
The bee fairy.
The bee fairy crossbow.
Yeah, and Dorbikmon's the giant red dragon. From the first episode of 7 Death Generals. So the listener opinions were 25.5% say Zamielmon. Who do you think's in second place with 21.3%?
Of their least favourite.
Yeah.
Is it the water guy?
Nope. Least favourite is Dorbikmon, the dragon.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The one I just mentioned was also one of my least favourite because he was just kind of, necessary in the way that, they have to have the first one being kind of bland so they can have the other ones be interesting, but he was just so boring. He was just kind of an angry red dragon, and that was his character.
No, he was a racist angry red dragon.
Oh, yeah, he was also racist. Didn't like flowers. And also was
He didn't like things that weren't dragons.
He tried to kill a Dracomon. That's a big enough reason to hate him. So, exciting episodes and awesome arcs. What was
God.
It's fantastic. Go away. What was your favourite arc? There's 3 answers. 3 possible answers you can have here.
I guess the first one, because that was the only one that really felt there was like it really felt like armies were happening and like pieces were being moved around a board. Because then because they fought you at the end of that first one, right?
No, they fought Tactimon at the end of the first one in the real world.
Oh crap! Okay, maybe not that one. Maybe this is the second one.
Yeah, the first one was good for like the first couple of episodes, and then it kind of started to get formulaic. The second one I would say is my favorite arc because it was just fun, and my favorite episode was in it. So
Which one is that?
My favourite episode was the Lotmon and Vamdemon one, the Neo Vamdemon one.
Oh, yeah!
But the Lotmon dies, and Cutemon says goodbye, Lotmon, and that's cut in the dub for some reason.
Well, can't have people die.
Yeah. Also, like, a billion Lotmon were in it, and it was kind of cute, but they all died, so that was sad. But I liked that. It was, like, an episode that I think even you were like, yeah, that's fine. So, I guess we'll get more to favourite episodes in a bit. Listener opinions. So, 67.3% say the Death Journals arc was their favourite. Who do you think, what do you think was the second favourite at 18.4%?
Anything but Young Hunters.
Well, there's three choices, so yeah, the introduction and zone arc. So, least favourite, Hunters? Was your least favourite Hunters?
Yes, Hunters is real bad.
And the listeners agreed, 69.4% say Hunters. What do you think they said was 28.4% least favourite arc?
Is that the middle one?
Nope, introduction. Nobody hates Death Journals.
No, the middle one is in like the middle result. I couldn't really figure out what you were saying.
Second/middle result, yes, was the introduction. 28.4%. So there's a small percentage that say that Death Journals is the worst arc, but it's, Death Journals is a pretty popular arc. Because it's good, almost.
Maybe.
Favourite episode? That. Well, I mean, it was fine. Better than Young Hunters. Favourite episode?
My favourite episode was... Oh, yeah. It's actually just the first episode of all of Xros Wars. Because it was the one that had the most potential to it. It had, like, this introduction of Taiki as a legitimately quite interesting character.
Yeah.
And there was just, like, a lot going on. Whereas
yeah,
I think as you went forward with it, it just ultimately showed that there wasn't really anything going on. And that was sad, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, my favourite episode wasn't that episode, but I see what you're saying. My favourite was, as I mentioned before, episode 34, Hang On Greymon, The Rise of Shoutmon DX, or Don't Die Greymon, Shoutmon DX is Born, because it was the fourth episode of the Death Journals arc, and it was kind of likeable. It's the one with Lotmon. Lotmon dies at the end. Cutemon says goodbye.
I love the description of it as kind of likable.
Yeah, it was definitely the best episode. Alternatively, and I hate to say nice things about Young Hunters, but here we go. I also did like that ghost episode of Young Hunters, but I'm not sure if it was just likable compared to the rest of Young Hunters, or if it was likable because it was generally good. Because both you and I said it was fine, right? I think I made you give it a 6, and I gave it like an 8 or something.
You made me.
Yeah, because you were like, oh, it's a 5. I'm like, no, it's better than a 5 because it's actually fine. Like, 5 is functional. It's more than just functional because I enjoyed it, and there were dead Patamon. Wow, why my favourites just have dead Digimon in it?
No.
Yeah, favourite episode, dead Lotmon. Second favourite, dead Patamon. Am I a monster? Possibly.
Yes.
Aww.
I mean, probably.
Now, the listeners actually had different answers from us, but that's because there's a wider range of answers you can possibly give. So
they're the real monsters.
First place, 14.3% say episode 6, which is the episode called Crisis or Conquest, or Xros 4, Crisis Breakthrough. It's the one with the Chibikamemon, and they're on a boat and they're trying to fight. That was fine. I'm pretty sure we liked the episode at the start, like it was fine. And it's too hard for you to guess what the second favourite is, unless you really want to guess.
I know, I'm good.
So 11.9% say that episode 54, Final Fusion, The Fight for Earth, or Grab the Digicross of Glory, Our Future, was their favourite. So that's the last episode of the Death Journals arc.
Does anything really good happen? Like, it's been so long, honestly. I do not remember it.
It was really cool in The Witch that they brought all the Digimon that they've ever met into the real world to fuse to this giant Digimon to defeat Lord Bagramon, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good episode. And also, Akari and Zenjiro were helpful. Akari actually jumped into the core with Taiki. She should have gotten her crossloader there, is what I'm saying. So, that was fine. Least favourite episode, what was yours?
My least favourite episode was probably that second... I think it's the second last episode of Xros Wars, where, like, it's all... They start jamming all of the old protagonists into the arm.
Oh, it's dirty, yeah.
It's just feels really bad.
That's the last episode where they put them into the arm.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but I see what you mean. However, my least favourite episode is, and I've mentioned this before, I don't like episodes where the main character or a character and their Digimon have an argument that's dumb and completely unnecessary, and they decide not to hang out anymore because it's the Okonomiyaki Panic, the town full of Pokemon, because I hate it. I think my least favourite episode in every season is the one where they have an argument and part from each other, because it annoys me. Because it's
Digimon
never...
should be friends, not food.
It's never a good reason that they're arguing. Never.
No, pretty much.
It's always... And this was just a worst version of the worst episode of Digimon Adventure, which was when Tokamon doesn't like the evil-looking Demi-Devimon, but at least Demi-Devimon's actually super evil, and Patamon's being completely reasonable. In this episode, Pokemon wasn't actually inherently evil. He was just a pig and was, like, possessed by food or something. And then they made him into a giant Okonomiyaki and cooked him alive. That was weird. But yeah, so that was my least favourite episode.
But it was so funny. Like, it was just, like, unreasonably funny. I think that's why I liked it.
It was bad. It was bad because it was dumb, and I hated it.
It wasn't good, but it was funny, so it was more enjoyable than most of the nothing that we got.
No.
Just no.
No. I just don't like the breakup episodes. They're annoying.
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't like those either.
The listeners said, and this was very far apart, 8.8%, which is like a couple of people, said that episode 1 was their least favourite, which was Mikey Goes to Another World, Taiki Go to Another World. So
That's
that was your favourite. And then
it's with the pillow under his head. And you're like, oh, look at him. He learned exactly what he needed to help. That's great. He's not good at everything. He just has a strategy. Yeah, it was a good introduction to Taiki. But then we had 5.9% of people saying that episode 55, We the Digimon Hunters, which is the first episode of Young Hunters, is their least favourite. Which I feel like, I mean, Young Hunters is really bad, so I guess. Yeah. And then we had a question. So this is just a suggestion from Patreon friend Disaster Area 42, and they wanted to know if we could choose only 12 episodes to be in Young Hunters, what episodes would you choose? And aren't there only 12 episodes of Young Hunters? There's like 20 something, right?
25. So basically I could find 9 really easily because I picked the ones that were directly not filler, but then I needed 3 extra, so I put the episodes where we meet the other hunters and reunite with Nene, Akari, and Zenjiro. So I did have to write down, like, it's a weird question to say 12, because then you naturally have to pick a bunch of filler episodes as well. I mean, I found 12 without, like, diving too much into filler, because I got characters that then later came up in other episodes, or the events that transpired in these filler episodes were then referenced later on. So first I have episode 1, We the Digimon Hunters, because it's the first episode. And then I have episode 8, The Business is Booming for the Digimon Hunt, because we meet the dude. Episode 9, Taiki is targeted, the super celebrity stars Brave Shout, because Akari and Zenjiro are there, and it's Taiki's in the episode. And also we have Nikki Odama, the statue, and and Mike Jonas. And then I had episode 10, which was sadly put in because it was sort of kind of fine, relevant, but I hated it. Going to Hong Kong, Protect the Super Beauty Idol, which is episode 10, which I have here as being episode 4. And then we have episode 13, The World Trip for Children Only, The Digimon Train of Dreams. Fine episode, and we meet another hunter. As I said, I put in some episodes where we meet the other hunters because they do come up later. And he actually comes up in one of the first plot episodes, which is when they go to the island because they needed a transport. And I also then have episode 14, Gather Hunters, Digimon Competition on the Southern Island, because the dude we just met. Then episode 16, just because I liked this episode, Heart Racing, Fear Experience, The Spirit Hunter Bellows. It's just here because I liked the episode. Like, you have to put in a bunch of these in here that you're like, I don't really... Episode's fine, I guess. But, you know, it exists. Well, no, I put this in because it needs at least a full filler episode that is good, and this is a good episode, so I had to put it in there. And then episode 17, because it gives us some backstory for Gumdramon, Resemblance or None at All, The Disguised Phantom Thief Betsumon, and then I have the last 4 episodes, episode 22, 23, and 24 and 25, because they are the actual plot episodes. The only time plot happens. Yeah, so I think that was I thought, oh, this is was going to be hard, but then I looked at the episode, I'm like, nah, it's fine. What were yours?
So I picked, obviously, the first episode, the Pinocchimon one.
Oh, yeah.
Then, like, the honest... Here's the thing, right? You have to understand that when I'm doing this, I'm trying to essentially rewrite the series a little bit. And I've gone the honest student episode, the one with the cuteness trap, because you have to introduce Team Rocket somewhere. The celebrity star, the Great Hunter Gathering, and the one with the cards, why not? Because it's like that. And then the ghost one, and like the last 4 episodes. The reason I've done this is because, like, how do I explain this? The problem with Xros Wars is it never really establishes what's going on with the AR field. Yeah, it sort of tells you this is... In hindsight, this is what it was. But it's not like... It's too mixed on it. It can't decide whether, the Digimon are good, the Digimon become evil because of the zone. Why would Pinocchimon forget who people were? Is there any reason ever given? Of course there isn't.
Yeah. I mean, Betsumon also, I guess, sort of forgot as well. Because they abandoned that whole thing, right? Where they were being drawn to the human world for some reason, and then they kind of wrote it off like, in a different way completely, but it was definitely starting to be in the same way that Digimon Savers was, in which they were drawn to some emotion and selfishness, but then they just said that they were just drawn to the human world in general, not to the people. It's just weird.
Yeah, so there was a story once, and now it's gone.
Yes.
And that's what I kind of want to address. And that, and the ones I've picked, the Digimon are all obviously bad. There's something clearly wrong with all of them. And in doing so, the plan, I guess, or what I'm hoping to accomplish with that, is that it becomes more evident that, like, there's something to be solved.
Yeah.
Whereas I think when you watch Xros Wars, because some Digimon are good and some Digimon are bad, that's why it became obvious there's no plot at all. Because it doesn't matter what happens.
Yeah. I mean, if I were to change something about Xros Wars, I would get rid of Postmon, and I think I would just make Clockman the baddie. Like, he wanted to make he made the game, and to make the game he had to, like, maybe reprogram the humans to be kind of, like, reprogram the Digimon to be drawn to humans' emotions, and I feel like that would have made it not terrible, right?
Yeah, I guess, but... it's weird, right? Because the Clockman's, like, barely a character. He's not really a character, is he? I know he's in this, but he's not really in this. If that makes any sense at all. It doesn't, I know.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that, like, I don't think that changing the Clockman's character within the context of how he actually appeared in the show will do anything for the show, because he was a nobody, and he was barely around, and his actual intentions ultimately didn't mean anything unless you completely take Onyxmon? No. Quartzmon out of it. Like, he's not in the show at all. I don't think you can really do that.
Onyxmon.
Pokemon's still good.
Oh, no. Sorry, it's not. Anyway, so, yeah, I mean, it's not... I feel like you could even limit it down to more. As I said, originally I could only find 9 episodes. I'm pretty sure you can even split it down then. I'm pretty sure you could even limit it down to, like, maybe 6 episodes, just with the first episode, and with maybe the Betsumon episode, just so we have some actual backstory. So you could squash this down even more, right?
Definitely. Like, 12 is way too many.
Like, you could probably even combine the last 4 episodes and make them not as long, because there were some scenes that, like, you don't need to have... Or you could just delete Tiguru entirely.
Ideally, I would.
But yeah, I mean, the best episode for me was the heart racing fear experience, because it was good. What was your best episode in Young Hunters? Because we didn't actually talk about the Young Hunters episode as being good.
That's because they're not. God, what was the best episode in Young Hunters? I don't even remember. I guess the ghost one, because it was kind of entertaining.
Yeah, that's
my bar right now. It has to be kind of entertaining.
What was your least favorite in Young Hunters?
The one that I said was my least favorite overall, when they ruined all of the protagonists from all the other seasons.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. My answer is also the Okonomiyaki Panic, because of course.
Yeah, no, I thought it was funny. It was actually, like, it was enjoyable. It was bad, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah, I just felt like it was exactly just the adventure episode that we already had, but worse and even more unreasonable. Total thorough thoughts. Alliteration. Why did I just snort at me? Like, don't make that snorting noise. It's a good name. I like alliteration. Okay.
Nice meme.
Biggest change. What was the biggest change between the dub and the original?
I honestly can't remember.
It's Taiki's backstory.
I forgot.
Well, in the dub, and I'll just reiterate in the English dub, the kid had a sore stomach in English, and was fine in an hour because it was just a sore stomach.
Oh, I forgot he had that backstory.
It was just a sore stomach, and then Taiki felt bad because Mikey felt bad because he couldn't look after this kid who was going to be fine in an hour. In the original, kid almost died. Kid went to hospital, and then the fact that they added in the dub the extra he was fine in the afternoon when the original just said, and then he almost died in hospital because I couldn't look after him. How does that change his personality from being a normal kid to I literally have to help anybody who needs help? What motivates you from it's bad when someone is sick, but he was fine an hour later. That's not a huge issue, but the fact he almost died is so much more motivating than he was fine in an hour, right?
I completely agree with you.
So is that your biggest change?
I guess, because I forgot that we watched English stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it was a while ago since we had to watch the English stuff, but yeah, that was definitely evidence of them downplaying it to be less awful for the children, but I felt like it made it cheapened the whole everything. And I hate when the dub does that, and the English dub does this every season where there'll be some motivation for why a character is how he is, and they'll just downplay it. At least they didn't add 3 siblings onto this character when they gave Mimi a little brother, a cat, and a dog in the dub, but whatever. Still not over it. Anyway, then we have...
Why aren't you over it? That's the real question.
Because then we meet her and she's an only child, and then we're just meant to forget about these lines
Fine!
Yeah. So then we have the listeners, and I'll be reading all these, but I'm making Jay read Postmon Pat later, so it's fine. So the listeners said, and I'll be reading these one by one, Taiki's personality and reason for it, which is, that was my biggest change. Another listener said, making Mervamon less fan-servicey in the English version. That is in the way where they just sort of grade over it with some, in Microsoft Paint sometimes, it's weird. Dub theme song, it's awful. Zenjiro, they made him really into video games, didn't they?
And then they just got rid of it.
Yeah.
They just forgot because it never mattered.
Yeah. Then we have localization of the Digicross merch to Digifusion, Crossheart to Fusion Fighters, Crossloader to Fusion Loaders, since Digifusion exists in Super Cross Wars as a separate mechanic.
Is this Super Cross Wars?
Yeah, it's the game.
What the hell?
It's a DS game. There was Super Cross Wars Red and Blue.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it was a game. I own it, but
existed?
I haven't played it yet, so I don't have any opinions on it, but I do own it. But then another person said character names. And another one said, not a big fan of the localizations of the main characters' names. Then we have another person who said Lilithmon's goodies.
Wow.
And we have a couple of people who say they only watch Japanese. Censorship, so I guess, Lilithmon again. Another person said, Mikey feels much more like a real person than Taiki ever did. Really? I guess Taiki was kind of hardcore with helping people, but I feel like that was kind of likable.
You know what I hate in shows when there's a character has a character?
Yeah. I mean, it's a TV show. None of these, I don't think any of Digimon characters are super like real people because they're characters. Anyway, another person said names and naming conventions. Then we have someone saying the music. Then we have another person who say the music. And then we have somebody says Mikey's nerfed backstory. Yep, completely. And then we have someone that says names. And then somebody said Mervamon's censorship. So same as Lilithmon's censorship, the boobies. Another person said
I don't really take issue with that.
Yeah, well, it is sort of like an awkward thing when they just sort of cover over it. Remember Rosemon in Savers when it was just sort of very badly done and inconsistently, her shirt would move up and down, they would just make it like a neck, like a turtleneck.
Just cover it now.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
It didn't look high quality at all, and same with in Savers, the Megumi and the other one. Anyway, so another person says Bargramon was called Lord Bargra in the English version and it's never explained why. Is he a Digimon or something else like Yggdrasil? That's fair. We have someone else saying name changes, then English names for humans. So Zenjiro, Jeremy, Akari to Angie. Then we have Alegamon's personality and Mervamon Beelzemon relationship. I don't feel like they were that different. Oh, I just read the next one. Deputymon. He was blue. I forgot he was blue.
You hated that so much?
Because why? We already have him as a character in all of Digimon, and he's not blue.
Because if he's grey, you'll think he's a gun.
But he is a gun.
No. Guns aren't blue. A gun can't be blue.
To be fair, anything can be a gun. There was a huge hold-up in the CBD today in Melbourne because a busker was holding a case that had, busking music stuff in it.
It's like a didgeridoo, I think.
I'm not sure what the instrument was, but he had a case with it in, and then somebody said it looked suspicious, and then they held up everything, all of the public transport for like an hour because they thought he had a gun. So anything can be a gun. The only step is gun. I can't wait for the third Pokemon game with sword, shield, and gun.
Robots are cute. No, they're not. Yes, they are. Even
what about
this
gun? Yeah. So, yeah, I forgot about Deputymon. But yeah, he was blue, wasn't he? That was awkward. He was also not in Young Hunters. Just want to make that clear. Then we have another person who says Taiki's character sometimes was totally different from the original. Yep, very different. And nerfed backstory, which was annoying. And then another person says that the music was the biggest change. So, yeah, I would agree with a lot of these. Like, yes, the music was different. I feel like everything was more kid-friendly in general. I still don't know why they made Deputymon blue or why they made Mikey's backstory meaningless. Do you have any other feelings about differences?
Again, I am so far removed from them that I kind of forgot they happened. So, no, I don't really have strong feelings about it.
What about the best thing about Xros Wars? Because there must be something, right?
I mean, you would argue there must be, right? But at the same time, I try to think about it and I go, what did I really enjoy? I guess when it ended.
Aww,
that was good. That. I'm allowed and I will.
Oh.
No one can stop me.
See, my best thing was the fact that it tried to be different and they had a girl character with an interesting potential, and that hadn't really been seen since Tamers. Because if you think about it, Frontier had Azumi, she was not that interesting, and then Savers had Yoshino, who was fine but not interesting, and Ruki was really good, had potential, and wasn't just good at the start. She wasn't benevolent, and neither was Nene. So I liked that. She had potential, and yes, she was fine for the first 2 arcs, but then I don't know what happened in the third one. Became an idol, I guess, for no reason. And then I also liked the fact that it had the whole general and army thing, and that's a pretty good premise, and that was... I liked that. I liked it when they went extreme, like, this is a general, this is a war, and we are going to war. I liked that. So you must have something that's good about Xros Wars to say.
You can't extract it from me. I have nothing to say.
Was it the fact Lotmon
I didn't enjoy it.
Lotmon's in it, though.
Yeah, but... Oh, wait, you mean... I keep thinking you mean like, Young Hunters generally.
No, all of it.
When they put the pillow under his head, I guess.
Oh, that happened in Young Hunters. It happened once, and it was... or maybe twice. Yeah, it happened twice, but it happened most recently in the Ghost episode.
I'm aware of that, and, it's fine. It's Digimon. I guess it's Digimon, and it was not that great.
Yeah. So, listener opinions. First up, we have one that's actually kind of like... It's definitely an unpopular opinion, but I dig it. I like it when people have unpopular opinions because it's different from everything. So, somebody said, Hunters, the aesthetic and design is dope, the Digicorch is the coolest thing ever, and the old clock shop man is both eerie and super sick at the same time. And yeah, he's kind of eerie, and I like that. And then they go on to say, all design choices that went into that part are all good by them. I like that. I like the fact that this person has a different opinion. And yeah, the designs are cool. As I said, I like Ren's design. Then somebody else says the music is what they thought was the best part. Somebody else said the fusion, and somebody says that Taiki is absolutely precious. Yep, would agree. First 54 episodes. Yeah. Dark General arc. Yep. Cameos.
First 54. Yeah. That's a lot to like without taking any of them out.
First 54 is just not Young Hunters.
Anything but.
Yeah.
Never forgive, never forget.
Team Cross Heart music like We Are Cross Heart. Darulamon. Yep, that's good. Nene and Sparrowmon. Yes. The animation in battles. Yeah, the animation was good at some points. In the evolutions, when they had like Nene's evolution with like Sparrowmon and Mervamon, that was great. Great animation. Fantastic. And then another person said tie between Taiki manipulating everyone in the jungle zone and the big crossover at the end. I like the first part of that. And another one says, in the most seasons, either the human characters or the villains were the best part of this, but this season, with the big exception of Tamers, probably the most well-written Digimon characters. And I would agree. I would say yes, because the Digimon characters actually were characters. Nothing exceptional and still often flawed, but compared to Adventure, Zero, 2, and Savers, where Digimon were basically just extensions of the Tamers, also I would disagree about Savers because we have Agumon, who is great, and he likes Tamagoyaki. Anyway, so they go on to say story arcs of Shoutmon, Dorillamon, Beelzemon, and Mervamon was still a notable improvement. Also, Wisemon and Basemon were both rather cute and funny, and I wish they had shown up more. Yep, I would agree. The characters of the Digimon are actually good. And then we have another person who says did something different. I would agree. And then we have a lot of spotlight for previous unused Digimon, anime-wise. Yep, would agree. Lots of armor evolutions, which is always really great to see.
That doesn't make it good, though, just because they showed up.
I know, but it's this person's favourite part, and that's fine. The battle music, fight scenes and soundtrack, Mervamon's boobs, storyline, fights and characters, setting, the music. So a lot of people like the music, which is good. A lot of the Digimon have more independent personalities. It was actually tricky to pick a least favourite. That's good. Fight scenes. Filler doesn't feel like adventure filler. Yeah.
Why not?
I guess, I mean...
What's the distinction?
I mean, they always had something that was slightly plot relevant. But
Did they?
Arguably the first 2 arcs don't have any pure filler, though. I guess. World building, the loose application of Digimon stages and power levels. See, I find that really confusing whenever they go away from the Digimon stages. I'm like, why? Child, adult, perfect, ultimate, where are we? The next one, Digimon were treated as characters instead of plot devices to the humans and weren't each having their own different goals and ambitions. Also, as I said before, I agree, Ballistamon in particular was one of their favourites, even though his development came much later in the series. Yep.
Yeah, but that one episode that they forgot afterwards.
Yes, was not relevant in Young Hunters ever.
It's not what development is.
The war idea, strategy, new arcs as a baddie, We Across Heart, Ver X7, that's a song, Kohai Senpai Gogglehead relationship, music and art style, especially backgrounds, the combinations, Masaru punching Venom Myotismon, absolutely, Digicross, the concept of having multiple Digimon and having factions at odds, that's cool.
And then that's when they took your multiple Digimon away, wasn't that the best? We have one out at a time.
Yeah. And then the last one, we got to see Masaru punch things. Yes, agreed. What about the worst thing about Xros Wars? What was yours?
That I had to watch it.
Oh no. Mine was the fact that crossover, and cross obviously spelt with an X, crossover, was just feeling so cheap. It felt like hey, do you remember these guys? Give us money. And it didn't feel sincere. It didn't feel loving or affectionate.
It wasn't the celebration that it needed to be.
Yeah, the Atmon one, that was a celebration, and I mentioned this last time. That was love. That was adoration. It wasn't cheap. It wasn't just like, hey, remember this guy? It was actual love. This one was just kind of like, let's just get these guys in. It just felt dirty. Also, there was another negative. Oh yeah, Nene in Young Hunters, because why didn't she become like a cosplayer or something relevant to the fact she was always wearing costumes? Or why didn't they make it her being in Hong Kong relevant to the plot? I don't know. I feel like they didn't explain why she wanted to be an idol enough. It just made it seem like an extremely impulsive decision without any motivation. And yes, people can have motivation just to do something, but it felt like, as I said, I was siding with the father. The father should absolutely be worried about his 11-year-old wanting to go to another country to be an idol. I don't know, that's a big thing.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So the listeners said that the worst thing was Death Generals, garbage art with all those shiny spots, a copy of the first 30 episodes with countries instead of zones, and super unoriginal. Also, they downgraded Sparrowmon to nothing more than a jetpack. Yeah, I love Death Generals, but I do agree Sparrowmon did have slightly less of a character. She was still a character, at least. And yeah, it was just countries instead of zones. But I still liked it, but I can see what they're saying. Another person says Fusion was their least favourite. The way the writing was aged down, the Young Hunters arc, Hunts, Tuguru, Iru's personality, the episodic plot of Hunters, how Akari and Zenjiro were shafted, especially compared to the manga. Yep, I agree. Tuguru never lets any Digimon but Gumdramon out of his crossloader, except Metal Tyrannomon that one time. Another person says, I know you guys hate Frontier the most, but personally I feel like Xros Wars is the worst Digimon season. I would actually agree now, even though it's more meh. Anyway, so they're going to say, so it's hard to pick, but I'd have to say the pacing, primarily the fact that the characters would just jump from zone to zone. Oh man, I remember that. Which were all very boring and uninspired. I don't think I would agree there. Some of them had nice designs. Anyway, and seemed like very lazy writing to keep the plot moving forward. Yep, would agree. The first parts, the characters hardly ever felt like they had time to breathe, just going from one big bad enemy to the next, especially the Death Generals arc, because in which the first 5 generals only got 2 episodes each, and then of course Young Hunters had the exact opposite problem. Yeah, I would agree. They definitely did jump between places very quickly. There was no filler in Xros Wars, the first 2 arcs of Xros Wars, I would say.
Well, because here's the thing though, it's the same thing before, where like, oh yeah, it's not technically filler because you put up 7 bad guys and you spend 3 episodes each time killing a bad guy.
Yeah.
However,
at least it's different though. At least they're different bad guys.
But think about it. If you remove some of those bad guys, the plot doesn't get longer or shorter. You're just compressing the amount of time you tell it in, because the story is the same, right? Like, how do I put this? Like, they're effectively filler. I'm trying to phrase like a good example. But my point is that if you take, it's not Schrodinger's filler in the same way that the Royal Knights arc was, where it was literally the same episode over and over again. But it kind of is, in that if you took, there were like 3 or 4, like 3 of the generals out, nothing would have changed. You need to beat some generals, but the number can be whatever you want it to be. So, like, whole arcs are filler as long as you agree that some of them can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should just match the definition perfectly. Yeah, there was Schrodinger's filler. There's filler there. It exists.
Then another person said hunters. Next person, boring use of Digicross apart from the first few episodes.
That's probably true. Like the card slash, where it went away very quickly.
Yeah. Some of the characters, character writing, young hunters, evolution mechanics, Tuggeroo and the Hunters arc. Not enough Tuggeroo. What? The plot, too much gold plating. Yeah. Especially in the second arc, it was just like, hey, let's evolve, let's strap gold plates on, alright, let's go.
It's weird because gold plating is like a Digi-Egg of Destiny kind of thing, and now it's just this is what you turn into. Also,
blue plating in the case of Deputymon, still not over it.
I don't know what that is.
Deputymon, the gun.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what Digi-Egg did he guess?
Digi-Egg of being a bad dog.
Digi-Egg of bullets.
So, next is you, some weak villains, loses world building in favour of Death Journals, go away, Death Journals was great. Not enough variety of Digicross. Also, I'm joking, you're allowed to not like Death Journals. I just like Death Journals because it was something good. Anyway,
I think you're allowed to not like Digimon generally.
Yeah. The Shoutmon fusions that were only used one time. Yeah, like Chibukaimon and Shoutmon, I'm glad was brought back for like 1 episode in Young Hunters. Nene and Kiraha never became a couple because the writers are cowards. They're 10.
Huge cowards.
They're 10. I'm glad they made Beelzemon and Mervamon a couple because they're actual adults, I guess, sort of. Old Clockman being Bagramon, yeah, that was pretty much like a bit of a swerve. Most Ultimate Digimon, it's mostly filler. Young Hunters is mostly filler. Rest of Xros Wars, I don't think so. The boring implementation of what initially sounded like a cool premise, a human general managing a Digimon army. Yep, agree, that was a wasted thing. The story, plot, wasted potential, agree. Somewhat wasted potential, agree. Young Hunters as a whole, yep. It single-handedly crippled the franchise. It didn't cripple it. It just kind of like put it to sleep for a while.
It put it in a coma.
Yeah, it just put it to sleep for a while. But I don't think necessarily that was Digimon's Xros Wars' fault. Young Hunters, yeah, but like, I don't know. I'm glad it came back, but I think that Digimon as a franchise did continue between Xros Wars and Tri. They were constantly releasing merchandise because they wanted to make money, so they still did that. So yeah, that was the thorough thoughts. Do we have any other miscellaneous thoughts about all of Xros Wars?
I'm glad it's over. Rest in not peace.
Requiem in pasta.
Requiescat in pasta.
Ravioli.
You made me want Digimoli.
Digimoli. Postmon Pat this week, I'm making Jay read everything because I read all the comments and all the statistics. So Jay gets to read Postmon Pat. I believe we just have them from With the Will, unless I've buggered up.
Looks like it.
Yep.
Alright.
So Jay, go ahead.
We got one from Chuckmon, who says, well, congratulations in order. First to Jay for surviving the entire series, and they'll never have to watch another episode of Digimon again. And to May and Jay for seeing this podcast through to its natural conclusion. I think they think we're the first to have ever covered every season of Digimon. Because we go faster than everyone else.
As a podcast, yes, because all the ones that were started when we were going have either ended or on hiatus, and yeah, so a lot of times...
We did it, we lasted.
But in general, of covering them as reviews, friend of the show and my friend and also co-host on the With the Will podcast, Adam Pulver, he covered them years before anyone did on a podcast, and he did it on his blog in I want to say 2014, I think he finished. So
yeah, but that's different.
In a blog, you're still reviewing, you're still watching, you're still talking about them. So yeah, as a podcast, yeah, but not in general as reviewing them, and I'm sure other people have obviously reviewed them as well, but as a podcast, we are the longest running current one because, as I said, everyone else is on hiatus because it is a lot of work to do a weekly and even fortnightly podcast. You have to organize notes, you have to edit the episode, you have to pay for hosting, obviously, you have to make sure everything is going out all right, you have to also getting people to listen to the podcast is actually kind of hard, especially in a kind of like a niche where there are other Digimon podcasts. You have to really kind of shove it down everyone's throat, which I did. And it was a while until we got like any amount of followers on anything. Like it's really like hard to get people to watch a podcast. So I think a lot of people like as I said, it's a lot of work. So that's why other podcasts may not have lasted or have gone on hiatus. And also like it is hard to get somebody to also you have two people who want to work for like and do a podcast every week or every fortnight. And yeah, so it is a lot of work. So no shame to anybody who's not able to do this because yeah, it's there was a point where I was just not sleeping after recording. Like to get it up the next day, I would have to get up at like 3 a.m. sometimes, even though we'd sometimes finish recording at 2, and I'd just be editing and I'd get it out at like 8 and I'd feel awful. And yeah, no wonder I have a sleep disorder. So yeah, it's a lot of work. So, like, also thank you for people who are listening to the podcast and who have since the start. Chakmon, I believe...
I'm sure we'll have a whole bit about this in the last episode.
No, go away. I'm spieling. So, Chakmon started listening because Digipodify mentioned us. And this was, like, I believe we're only released episode 4 at the time. So yeah, that's Chakmon's one of those people who have like written us a letter like every podcast episode and has been a supporter of ours for a long time. So I'm also very appreciative of Chakmon and anyone who's been listening to this podcast for a long time. So thank you. Yay. Continue. Sorry, Jay.
Okay. And while our hook was to rewatch Digimon with a newbie and get fresh impressions, as well as to compare the sub and the dub, hook for them was having a podcast that discussed the Japanese original at all, which hadn't been done.
It still hasn't.
It was one worth talking about. Well, it has now.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, no one has ever done a Digimon podcast that
because they're all cowards.
Everyone wants to cover the dub, and I understand that. It is the only current one that's legally accessible. The English dub, you can't get. And I know when we started, it was on Netflix America the first like 3 seasons or 4 seasons with the subtitles. Apparently, they were still bad though, the subtitles. So it's reasonable that no one has really done that because, as I said, not easily accessible. But it's yeah. So continue. Yep. Sorry.
And then they say they mostly agree with us on the lackluster ending. Keramon, their favourite Muppet-like Digimon, was fun to see in episode 77, yeah. And while a nod to previous seasons, they thought it worked okay to show how both worlds now overlap and the Digimon were digivolving on their own. It was a cute nod to past season baddies. He's not from a past season, he's from a movie. And his film was the worst Digimon alive. Statement was classic.
Cameron has shown up other times, I think.
I really don't think that's true. We would have noticed.
I think he has.
They say they liked how we learned Ryoma was like Tagiru, that he idolizes Taiki. You know, that would have been really interesting earlier. Sadly, this character development was just a little too late. I should have kept reading. Really, we're going to learn this about Ryoma from the last 2, with only 2 episodes left, and his whole witnessing of Taiki's final battle with Bagramon from a random rift in the digital space he was able to hop into and not turn into stone is a bit suspect. He's got so many questions. Quartzma was born from Taiki's fight with Tactimon and Bagramon, and scattered his body to create the Digiquartz. He set the only one Digimon in use per hunter rule somehow, even though he had no control over the Digivices, and the old man ended up being Bagramon, who I just realized is handing out these things. How is he doing that?
Well, he's the only one... Well, Taiki mentioned that Bagramon was the only one who was able to make cross-loaders and Omegamon.
So did Bagramon lose the arm in Tokyo Bay? And what happened to Tactimon's sword? That's what I thought they were trying to pull out. I honestly don't remember, and I don't care to watch Taiki's battle again. Requiring the 6th hero's energy to activate the Brave Snatcher. Still no reason they called it that. And having Tagiru be the 7th hero to wield the weapon was okay, I guess. And part of the finale was Zenjiro's reactions to the Spirit Evolution. And the fact that Zenjiro never got to use Tactimon's sword is a crime, by the way. Reactions to Spirit Evolution, DNA, Digivolutions, etc. It was cool to see Adventure Taichi next to Daisuke being the same age. And it was cool to see Takado next to Takuya. Although, wouldn't Adventure Taichi not know who Daisuke is?
Yeah, he doesn't.
That's so weird. And Davis is not smart enough to be like, oh, hey, it's that guy that I'm friends with, and then have Taiji be like, who are you? And then, like, take it well. But no one really did anything amazing. It was great that Tagiru saved the day, and everyone helped Clockmon freeze time. What do you mean they helped him freeze time? What did they do?
They held up their Digivices because it was a season finale, and that happens in every Digimon season finale. They hold up their Digivices and have 1,000,000 points of light, and then the hopes and dreams kill Melio, Bamda, whatever.
You thought Brave Snatcher was going to be Takimon's sword? Like I did. I didn't even remember that. Didn't even remember that right. What happened to the sword? I think. Wow, Chalkmon is not obsessed with the sword. I am too, to the extent, but like really feels strongly about it. And when did Bugmon lose that claw arm in the bay? Why did he come back as an old man? No good reason is the answer.
Because it's in the script.
The only part they like was how the Brave Snatcher needed the energy of 6 years to activate. I don't like that. And the slots for each of them. Why would Bugmon's arm have that? Taichi was red, Daisuke was blue, Takata was orange, Takuya was pink, Masaru was yellow, and Taiki was gold. They're okay with Takiru being a hero, but he did use that whoever stops here is an idiot line like twice. So it wasn't a real Takiru catchphrase. And congratulations. Again.
Like, can we just point out that we haven't said, because it was in the script, for many seasons except for, like, this one and in Adventure and I think Frontier, but
you said it, like, every season, I'm sure.
Oh, we said it not that many times in Tamers, Atmon, and Savers,
I guess.
because
Fair
it
enough.
was always very good.
In the Frontier, that's all it was.
Yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, the script said so.
We got one from Wild Wig 64.
Oh, I did a typo.
It's a very messy wig. And there's 64 of them. They say, thank you, May and Jay. Your quest is over. We present a new quest. Push button B to rewatch the entire series, but in Spanish.
No, I want to rewatch it in Tagalog. I would
rather die.
Apparently, the worst one is Finnish because all the kids are voiced by like 60-year-olds, but not in like a Goku way, but in like a
there's an old person.
And the acting is just like as literally what I just did just then was that's the amount of energy that the characters have. Like, oh, we're falling off a cliff. Oh no.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah, I think I've sent you the video before.
I don't remember ever seeing it, but fair enough. I believe you.
It's awful. I'm pretty sure it's the Finnish dub, and it is like I think another dubbing company picked it up for the rest of Digimon, and it was not that bad, but like I can't believe that. I don't know, it was oh no. And that's when they're falling off the cliff after Kuwagamon just attacks them, by the way. It's just like
this is like, inconvenience.
It's like a slight inconvenience, like, oh, I just dropped, like, I don't know, my apple on the floor. Not, oh, I'm dying. Like, I don't know, it's just, yeah, continue.
And we got one from again, who says, nice going, guys. Thanks for all the years of great Digimon coverage. Which ones were those? Because I know there were a lot of years of just Digimon coverage.
It's been 5 years.
Through all the ups and downs,
I think.
Whatever comes next, they hope they maintain their hope that we'll revisit it now and again. If I can manage to rope Jay back into it, I will not. I cannot be convinced to watch this show again. Ever.
I will.
I promise you, I will never watch Digimon again in my life, and I will be so happy. The finale was fine for them. There were some flashy team-ups and a decent final battle. They actually liked the Brave Snatcher as a surfboard. The hunters set its terms quite early on, so it's not like they were expecting anything too special. It certainly could have been better. Would it be possible to get another installment of Jay rewrites Digimon to be more competent and get his pitch for a better version of Hunters? I kind of did a very short version of that earlier, which is the, like, somebody is causing Digimon to be corrupted, and then that's what the AR field is, rather than it's just kind of random, and then Puppetmon has amnesia for no reason.
Like,
not that
as I said before, Clockman should have been the actual bad guy.
Oh yeah, and like
making the game.
Getting people to hunt Digimon was him like collecting them or something. Like there are lots of. It's funny because the show doesn't know what it wants to do. It does a lot of stuff. Yeah. And then it forgets a lot of stuff, but those things it does could have been turned into a good story.
And Frontier was the same. Like I can't remember what the huge argument that I had
literally
about
just the
Frontier
Doom train.
Yeah, the Doom train. Yeah, I like the Doom train.
That train was pointless.
Oh yeah.
It did nothing and never came back.
I wish it just ate everyone. What if like the rest of Frontier was just some like coma dream or something, and the Doom train just actually ate everyone? I don't know. But yeah, I feel like, Hunters could be rewritten to be good, but it'd be a little bit too much like 02 in the way that Bagramon's just kind of hanging out there being the bad guy behind the scenes for the whole season, just like, Famdamon in 02 being Oikawa. But yeah, that could have been fine. But no, they had to have Quartzmon, who was just the D-Reaper, but worse. And with a face.
Alright everybody, join us for the next episode of Digimon Digital Monsters, when we talk about
all of Digimon forever, because we're done. So we'll have all our opinions that have accumulated since May 2015. Yes, almost 4 years of being on a Digimon podcast. We have opinions and we have favourites, so let's compare all the seasons, let's work out what our favourites are, and that's what we'll be doing next time. So in 2 weeks, you join us for that. So the link dumps link in the description, where I will definitely, most certainly, link you the finished dub, unless it's been removed from YouTube, and if it has, sorry, I can't link it to you because it's dead, but it is very funny. So our Redbubble's also linked in our description, and you can get more than just shirts there too. You can contact us and stay updated, and I'm about to see if I've updated all the contact links to actually not point towards SoundCloud, so we'll find out in a second. Oh, I just read ahead, I have not. Email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. It's still there, so that's not wrong, but we are hosted on Wooshka now. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit. And we would appreciate if you would review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever podcast app that you use, because ratings allegedly help people finding out about the podcast, and we would appreciate it, and we'll read it as well. Yay! And we have a website, vote in polls, check out our release schedule, and check out our blog posts. And yes, the website is live. Yay! Which is good. Yay, because I think last time was kind of like, is it alive? Possibly soon. Anyway.
You can donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month, which you can get access to our listener Discord server, but there are high levels with more rewards, such as notes, early episodes, and more.
I'm glad I updated
Early episode. And thanks to our Patreon supporters, Joe, Anime Guy, who's Anime Guy Kurosaki and the #1 on YouTube, Chalkmon, Stephen Reeves, who's Wildwing64 on AO3, Kaidawashi, Chisai, who can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr, Kyle, The Lady Bugman, who's at blog you can read at theladybug.productions, Tom, Glitchgoat, Matthew, Anthony, who is at AntoClassic on Twitter, Lismet, who is Electmon on Tumblr, Sithobi, The Time Optimist, Nicholas, Starry, Keith, of the Friends in Firelight podcast, and Alex Ray Snyder, who is at Alex Ray Snyder on Twitter.
You can also make a one-off donation on our PayPal, which can be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Agumon, and make sure to listen to the podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Bye-bye!